Hi, welcome back to Bernama today. With me in the studio is Blair Daly. Now, not your usual, foreign-looking student or advisor, because here we have Blair in a batik shirt. Blair, welcome to the show.
Thanks
How are you
much.
today?
Doing well. Thanks.
Yeah?
Well,
okay. Blair is with the Malaysian American Commission on Education Exchange, of course, with the Education USA. A foreign student himself right here in Malaysia, has also volunteered and now an advisor with Education USA. Now, let's rewind, let's go right from the beginning. How did you end up in Malaysia?
I ended up in Malaysia because a professor at the university where I studied in the U.S., in Washington State, he was a Peace Corps teacher all those years ago, about 40 years ago in Sarawak. Peace Corps program hasn't been in Malaysia since the 80s or so, but 1966 to 68 he was with the Peace Corps, and later on he became an economist and then a professor of economics, and so I took classes from him, and he would always tell stories about his fantastic experience in Sarawak. So that inspired me to want to study abroad there. So he encouraged me to do that, and he made some connections between me and Unimas there in Kuching, and so I had the chance to do that.
Wow, and this was how many years ago?
2009.
2009.
So I was in my third year of university studies.
Okay, so you came to Sarawak and completed. Of course, you have your bachelor's now, and it's all done. And then you moved on to volunteering as a teacher, and then as an exchange as well. So tell us about that experience.
Yeah, just after I finished my degree in the U.S., and I'll mention it was very smooth the way my credits were able to transfer from UNIMAS to count towards my degree at my home institution. But after that, I didn't have a clear job lined up. I studied social science. That's what I did at UNIMAS and back at my home university. So in the social sciences, it's not so clear what I was going to do as far as occupation. So I wanted to return to Sarawak, so I had the chance to volunteer in Bacalalan as just a very unofficial, just a volunteer service where
that
I kind
must have been a sort of a very, like you said, a different experience as well, because in a place like that, very, what's the word, exotic, back to nature, sort of green and fresh and, so different from the hustle and bustle of city life.
Yeah.
We have some pictures of you here with, are these your students in some activities, right?
Yeah, playing basketball at UNIMAS when I was a student there. Sports were an awesome way to connect with students and make friends. And then that's me in Bacalalan with some of my students that I was close with.
Okay, so do tell us, what has the experience been like, coming from a foreign country and trying to just get used to the way of life and then doing so well from becoming a student to a teacher and now an advisor.
Yeah, so I just keep coming back so many times. It wasn't that hard to adjust. Malaysians are so friendly. And I was lucky to have the chance to do kind of a independent study before I came to Malaysia the first time in '09 as a student. I spent a semester kind of preparing myself to come to Malaysia by studying under my professor who had been here. So I started learning the Malay language, I started learning the geography, the lay of the land, the political scenarios, and all kinds of things. So I had some good preparation to come to Malaysia. But then when I got here, of course, it was different from how I had imagined it. I'd only seen a few images and a couple movies about what Malaysia looked like, and so I was very happy to see that there's so much diversity in this country.
I'm really impressed, Blair, because I think, at this point you probably have more knowledge about Malaysia than some of us Malaysians ourselves. So, that really is remarkable. Tell us a bit about the work that the Malaysian American Commission on Education Exchange does. I mean, what do they really focus on? Yeah,
MACE is a bilateral commission that facilitates education exchange programs between Malaysia and the U.S. It was founded in 1963, so I've met quite a few Malaysians in the older generation who say that they studied, for example, in Texas or in Ohio 30 years ago, and they had contact with MACE. And so I've just been there for a short while as an Education USA advisor. So what MACE does is it basically just refers to the office. And so there are kind of two main purposes: the Fulbright grants that they administer, which is opportunities for Malaysians to come to the U.S. or Americans to come to Malaysia. And then the other side is the Education USA advising. And Education USA is a network of over 400 advising centers that's supported by the U.S. Department of State to provide free, unbiased, kind of official information about the whole range of American higher education options that are available to international students. So that's what I do there at MACE.
Okay, well, it's very interesting. Now, let's talk a bit about your experience in Malaysia again. What has been maybe the fondest memory, or what has been the turning point, or something that is just unforgettable about Malaysia?
Oh gosh, there are so many to choose from, and I'm so glad that I've kept a camera with me at all times to capture some of these moments, because I'm going to treasure them forever, no doubt about it. But I had great memories in Bacalalan, walking by foot with this one boy named Mark, who I became very close with. He was a year 5 student. This year he's preparing for his UPSR in year 6, so I'm trying to give him encouragement all the way. But just walking across the border from Malaysia into Indonesia, because he had family on both sides of the border. You know,
I saw a
Bacalalan
signboard that said like 5 km or 10 km that way, and you were just at the border.
Yeah, it's really neat the way you can walk across and you just kind of check in with the military posts, and it was no problem. I even had a chance to play a pickup volleyball game with the Indonesian military side there. Very informal, but they were so friendly, and so that was an awesome memory.
You know, when you come to a country and then you feel you take a piece of it with you, it's, you know, it becomes a piece of your heart, and then you give back to the students, and then you see them grow. So it's like a full cycle. It must be very you know, it must feel good to be able to do that, to take and then to sort of give back. What has been the experience with your students in terms of teaching and then having to leave them and then move to another group? What's that been like?
Yeah, I didn't have any training particularly in teaching, so it was something where I had to learn on the go. But I found the most important thing is just to show them that you care about them, that you really are invested in preparing your lessons and wanting to see them succeed. So I tried to compensate for my lack of training as a teacher with just extra love and support and encouragement of these students, and trying to be creative in the lessons that I came up with, because both in Bacalalan as a volunteer teacher, and then last year as a Fulbright English teaching assistant in Terengganu, placed at a secondary school in Kuala Berang. In both of those situations, I was responsible for coming up with my own lesson plans, and so that was neat. I wasn't supposed to follow the curriculum provided by the Malaysian education system, because you already have trained teachers who know how to do that much better than I would. So I had a chance to use newspapers, use songs, use movie clips, bring the kids outside of the class, get to know them better and give them lots of chances to speak through sports, through music, because I played the drums. I also taught them sports like softball and basketball. So inside the class was try to make it fun, and then I had lots of time for interaction and encouragement of the students outside of the class.
Wow, that must have really made things interesting for them, because, you know, they are in smaller towns, away from how we are here in the city, and then to have such a interesting experience. How was it? How was it for them? Were they thrilled? Were they excited? Were they shy at first? Give us a bit of an idea.
Yeah, for sure. In Bacalalan, they were very shy at first, and I'd tell one story of how I was trying to be helpful. The first day at school, I saw the students, I thought they were picking weeds from beside the walkway, and so I helped them sort of pick the weeds. You know, they were going kind of slowly, so I was giving them some encouragement. And no one said anything, but they looked at me kind of strangely, so I wondered, am I doing something wrong? And then I found out later on they weren't picking weeds, they were planting. They're actually putting in things, and I felt so guilty. And I remember they said one word, they said tanam.
Yeah.
Tanam.
Yeah.
And I had studied some Malay, but I couldn't remember what that meant. And I was thinking, tanam, does that mean to pull out? Okay, is it cabut?
Like, yeah, let me just help you here.
Yeah, so that was embarrassing. But later on, I think after I had been there for a while, then they would correct me if I was making a mistake. But of course, the reason that they didn't say anything, even though I was pulling out their nicely planted flowers there, was because they were shy at first.
Yeah. So do tell us about now your role as an advisor with the organization. Does this mean you'll be traveling to other parts of Malaysia, and does this mean that you'll be bringing more students to Malaysia? What happens now?
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I'm quite new as an Education USA advisor at Macy, but coming up next week, we'll be going to Kuching for the Borneo Post International Education Fair at the convention center there. And so that's almost like a homecoming for me, because I've been in Sarawak, spent about a year total there.
That's right.
And even this professor that I mentioned to you, who first introduced me to Malaysia, he's there now, kind of attached to Unimas in some kind of advising role. So I'll go get to see him. And so in addition to being in Kuching, we're going to visit Miri, go to the library there, I think on March 5th. And then March 3rd and 4th is when we'll be in Kuching for the education fair. And then later on, I may be sent to KK, to Kota Baru, going up to Perak next week to attend some kind of college fair at TAR, at the TAR branch campus there.
That's right.
So yeah, we'll have a chance to travel a bit.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. Now, tell us about your favorite place in Malaysia, though, for the bits of traveling that you've done. Is it places like Langkawi, Penang, KL?
I'm so new to KL, and I had never lived in a city until this year. So actually, being in what you describe as a more rural place, exotic kind of place, like Kuala Berang and Terengganu where I was last year, or like Baclalan, I really felt happy and comfortable there. So now I'm sort of adjusting to city life. But talking about my favorite places, I guess I've been lucky to have a few kind of adopted families throughout my about 2 years total that I've been in Malaysia. And so I would say Sagamat Johor is a place that I love to go to.
Wow.
I've been to Chinese New Year in Sagamat, I've been Chinese New Year in Cebu, Sarawak, and also here in KL this year. So the different places like Sagamat and like Baclalan and Kuala Berang where I have these adopted families that I'm very close with, those are the places that I like the best.
Well, definitely, you know, your second home, if I may say. Malaysia is very much like home, and you do plan to stay on, so that's good news for us. Now, perhaps you can share with our viewers, for those who are interested in a foreign exchange plan, or those who want to go overseas, or who have friends who want to come in. What is the thing that they first need to do, and what is kind of mindset that they need to have? Because it's not an easy thing to pack up your bags and go, is it?
Yeah, I know that's one of the obstacles. We sort of informally ask students, what are the main obstacles for studying abroad? We're interested in what are the obstacles for them studying in the U.S., but overall, we're trying to find out, what are the barriers to going abroad, and it's basic things like the cost can be one issue, and then just being so far away from home and from family for a long time. So, but thinking about the mindset that it takes, I don't know, just being open-minded, being an adventurous person, being willing to laugh at yourself, not take yourself too seriously, because you'll make mistakes in a new culture. Even just getting here today, I made mistakes on my route getting in, because everything's new to me, and it'll be new for all exchange students, when they're in a new place. So don't take yourself too seriously and be open to new experiences. That's how I've been very happy as an exchange teacher and as an exchange student.
Well, as they say, where there is a will, there is a way. So do tell us where viewers can find you or the organization. Is it on a Twitter account or a website or something?
Yeah, our homepage is macy.org.my.
Okay. That's on the screen right now, macy.org.my.
And then we also do have a Twitter account where we post, every week we try to post a few scholarships that are being offered by different American universities that are international students are eligible for. So that Twitter account is twitter.com/MacyAdvisor.
Okay, twitter.com/MacyAdvisor. Okay, so that's pretty easy to find. Okay, so let me just ask you one last question. What are your thoughts on durians then?
I love to eat durian.
You do?
Yeah, it was so hyped up in my mind by other people. It was about a year that I'd been in Malaysia before I actually had the chance to have durian, because I came at the wrong season or something. And when I finally tried it, I loved it. But I was a little bit afraid because it had been I'd heard so many stories about how powerful this fruit is, and don't mix it with different things, and make sure to eat it at the right time. It'll make you feel this way or that way.
Yeah, everyone's trying to sort of preempting you and trying to protect you from, going the wrong way with durian, right?
I guess, yeah, but I like it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Blair, for joining us on the show today and shedding light on, student exchange life and programs that is offered by the American-Malaysian Commission of Education Exchange in collaboration with Education USA. That's it for us right here on Bernama today. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Happy weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much.